Wait, are you done with that thought? Because I wanted to.
Well, I wasn't.
Are you done yet?
I wasn't done. Interrupts my thought. Are you done? What?
This podcast sponsored by Facebook Meta. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is Nestani.
Hi, I'm Jaxler, unfortunately.
I am DECosmic, and I'm very unhappy to be sponsored by Facebook Meta.
Oh shit! I'm Coley.
And we got demonetized in the first 2 seconds of the podcast. Fuck, man. I can't believe this shit.
Dude, that kind of went
We're not
places.
sponsored by Facebook Meta AI, unfortunately, everyone. We're not getting that blood money. It is funny how many people are, though, because I was watching the Waveform podcast, and they're sponsored by Meta AI, and then I was watching a Joshua Wiseman short, like the guy that cooks food. He did a short with the Meta AI classes.
There just seems to be like these waves of sponsorships, dude. Like 1 week, everybody is sponsored by Meta. The next week, it's like HelloFresh. Like everybody gets sponsored by HelloFresh.
I remember when like every YouTuber was sponsored by the same people. That's just it. That is how it works.
The crazy thing, though, is that it's like Joshua Wiseman. So he's literally has the fucking Meta glasses on, and he's like, hey, like, is this like sugar caramelized? And it's like, yeah, it looks caramelized to me. Just like, what is going on? Yeah. But unfortunately, we're not sponsored by Meta AI. Otherwise, I would not be here anymore because I would be rich. But
I don't know about that.
Of rich people, are the Apple event happened today. Did you all see that? Y'all look at that?
I saw that they released the new phone, or they announced a new phone, but there's like barely anything different about it. Like it has a camera button now.
You know what's crazy?
And it has like
that's every single year that anyone releases a phone. It's barely different from the year before, which is why you don't upgrade every year.
It now has that thing where like if you take a picture of a restaurant, it shows you the menu and the hours and the reviews. I'm like, oh, so it just brings up Google Maps immediately.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
you know that thing
all
that
right,
Google
I
does?
guess.
Yeah, it does that now.
Yeah, the Google thing that Google does already.
Like that thing that Google does? Yeah, Apple does that now.
What's insane to me is that it's like in the video, this guy sees some woman walking her dog, and instead of asking her what breed her dog is,
he asks if he can breed her.
He asks if he can take a picture of the dog. He asks if he can take a picture of the dog, and brings up the breed. And it's just and they say it like this is big. Creed, also known as Christian Pearl Jam. So the thing too is like the whole advertisement is just like, don't talk to other people, don't ask things, don't ask for a menu at a restaurant. Nirvana.
Shut up. Respectfully.
I forgot that was a Nirvana song.
Yeah. I did too. Speaking of, I started typing, and that was me checking to see, like, do they have a song called Breed? I think they do.
And speaking of Nirvana,
Breed or Breathe, you know what I mean? And then I was like, but not to be confused with Breathe, the Ariana Grande song. That could get confusing as well. So,
speaking of Nirvana, did y'all hear about Dave Grohl today?
No, I don't give a shit about that guy.
What happened?
He cheated on his wife.
I'm like, what happened? I love Dave.
Oh my god!
What?
Did he get John Lennon?
He cheated on his wife. And,
again?
Now has a new. This is a new thing.
Oh,
that's just what rock stars do, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it right though, and like
but
I
mean,
but if you have enough money, like it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Bigger number, better person.
Yeah, I guess.
Bigger enough.
So he posts a thing on Instagram about it.
I'm so sorry I fucked this other girl. She was really hot, and I couldn't stop myself. It was just an innocent mistake. It wasn't 82 mistakes in a row. Honestly, it was one innocent mistake.
That's not at all.
Yeah, sorry. My wife has a skill issue. She should have known this came with the job description. He's a rock star. He's what the Foo Fighters.
All he says is like,
She fucked up by not being punk rock enough, you know?
I'm now the father of a beautiful baby daughter that was born outside of my marriage. I still love my wife and kids. Right. And of course, somebody on Twitter goes,
At least wrap it up, big dog. Like, come on.
He missed a golden opportunity to start the post with, I've got another confession to make. So that's kind of where it's at. But
see, that's the only thing I feel bad for.
It's lyrics to a Foo Fighters song.
Oh, that's why. Because
How
Foo
old are
Fighters
the-
suck.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't know.
But they're the Foo Fighters,
Dog shit. Anyway,
ladies and
continue.
gentlemen. The Foo Fighters. How old are the kids?
It's like, I don't know.
Because that's who I'd feel bad for is the kids.
I actually don't know.
You know,
how old
like that's
the
just
kids
an
are.
awkward situation.
I can take a look though.
All right.
Although
I remember back in elementary school when one of my friend's mom cheated on another classmate with their dad. Like, so it was like two kids in my class dealing with that shit at the same time. That was
So
some
his
pretty heavy
oldest-
stuff.
his oldest child is 18 years old.
Oh,
So
that's
and he has
fine.
4 of them. So
He's got a handful.
do the math, I guess.
Well,
yeah.
like the oldest is fine. It sucks for like the 7-year-old. You know what I mean? Like the 18-year-old,
Right,
it's
they
like
get
whatever
over
shit,
it.
nigga. Like
Yeah.
you get it. You know, rock star
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, big dog.
Rockstar shit.
Rockstar shit. Sorry, big dog.
Yeah, rich
Damn.
people shit. You know, sometimes
Rich people shit. Yeah, that's it.
rude.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I was scared that you were gonna say he was like a pedophile or something. Because
I mean,
you know,
he's pretty close.
I don't know.
Given the
Wait,
track
wait,
I don't know what
record
the-
of
how
all
old
these
was-
people with a lot of money and a lot of like fame, like it's pretty close. There's
Yeah.
a pretty high percentage chance at this point.
But we'll see.
Unfortunately,
I guess
I'm not the
Hopefully
one
that's
who's
not the
doing it.
case.
I'm just observing all these
Yeah.
other niggas.
True.
I'm not
are.
disrespecting anyone here.
Also, speaking
guys-
of other rich people shit, the PS5 Pro and that
Yeah, that shit is
$700
ridiculous.
price tag.
That is insane.
That's ridiculous.
That is so much money.
My favorite part about
I could
that
buy a
was
tube of
Jeff
insulin
Keighley.
with that.
Like
Just
one
single
tube of
tube.
insulin.
Just
Yeah.
one. Just one. We talked about this before.
We've done the girl math before. It's just one.
Jeff Keighley from like the Game Awards posts
Jeff
like
Teague, the basketball player.
no James Keyblade.
James Harden,
the guy
the
that
basketball
hosts. Yeah, maybe. James Harden ended up. No, I'm not going to spread misinformation. So Jeff Keighley from the Game Awards
I want
ended up
misinformation.
posting like, "Oh, this is all the prices of these consoles adjusted for inflation," and it's just like, yeah, that's cool, dude, but people's wages have not kept up with
It's
inflation.
like my wage has
So-
not adjusted to inflation. I don't know.
Like, what are we talking about here?
The only
people
thing I
are-
really have to say about the PS5 like Pro thing or whatever is that people are like, dude, you could buy a $700 computer for that, like that's like just as good as that, and you can't. I just want to point
That's
that
true.
out. You cannot buy
You
a $700
cannot.
computer that
No.
is as good as the PlayStation 5. It's just not
No.
a thing. However, you can get a good computer for that price.
That's true.
That can, you know, do a lot of things.
Run some stuff, yeah. Run
Yeah.
some
You could
stuff.
do very, very solid 1080p gaming. However, you're not doing 4K 60.
I just feel bad for all the people who like run like the 3 speedrunners who play on PS5 who are like, oh, well, now there's gonna be a new thing I have to get for faster loads.
Yo, shouts to
It
Sonic
It probably
Unleashed.
won't change. It probably won't change a ton on the load front. I'd
You
have
don't
to
think so?
imagine. But so what's gonna happen is I'll actually have
What
to
do you think
see
is pro about it? Hold on, I'm
because
looking.
the Scruffington is gonna buy a PS5 and he's gonna probably do some DMC5 runs on it.
On the
And then
Pro,
I'll
yeah.
probably just end up putting like whatever run he does of that and then his old run from like the PS5 base into like Vegas or
Separate.
whatever. And then just kind of going
I see.
frame by frame on it, seeing kind of what happens. Because this is sort of like an issue that we've just sort of ignored is that the loads on the PS5, although they're super minuscule, there is technically some variance for stuff like DMC5. And I won't say that it's a ton of variance. I'm talking like maybe you lose, I don't know, 5 seconds over an hour, if that. Like
Dude,
at
that's
the absolute
insane.
worst.
That's
it's not.
game breaking, dude.
No, it's not.
It's like throw your old PS5 away, throw it in the trash. It's
don't do
useless
that.
now.
I'm not doing that.
Also,
I've had
Actually, yeah, no, throw
half
it away.
like
Throw it
Bane
away
did
so
with
I can give it to
Batman.
Nestani.
I've had my PS5 for 4 years and it's still kicking, so I'm just gonna keep going with it.
yeah,
I need
also
to replace
the
my
only
PC
thing they
in the
upgraded
next 2
is the
years
GPU
anyway.
in the thing, which means that load times will not really be affected. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
as
it's
far as I
maybe
know,
affected
this
minusculely, but like, nah.
the
More like
rendering might be.
GPU.
It might improve frame rates, which could
I mean,
That's true.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, you can
But,
have a little
like-
bit you can have better frame rates with your ray tracing on your PS5 games. Like, all this is really doing is just making
your
your
two
games look
PS5
better,
yeah.
right? It
Your
just,
two PS5
it just makes them
games,
look
yeah.
better. It doesn't really change too much about like how the game
Yeah.
like
Plays.
loads, pretty much. So I don't think it'll affect speedrunning very much at all.
Yeah.
Unless you just want
Fortunately.
better color, or like, you know, I want to squeeze every single graphical anomaly out of this thing. You know, I don't know.
Because it actually is going to do 8K, as far as I know.
I believe it.
So
And you're not
Yeah.
doing
I don't know
8K
what
gaming on a $700 PC.
it's good.
I
It's
don't
going to
even
be
do 4K.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
You're not even going to do 4K. Yeah.
Powerful
You're not even gonna do
graphically.
4K. You know, it's like, bruh.
Yeah, that was like the only take I briefly saw on Twitter. I was like, "That's dumb," and then I kept scrolling because I tend to scroll my Twitter timeline like this.
Until you see something dumb. Oh, you just do that. Okay.
I super scan speed read, and then like I'm off of it in like a minute. Honestly, I scroll it like I scroll
You
Instagram.
did was so good for describing what you did. Like when you went like
It
that,
was.
I like
It was solid.
Like I
Yeah.
could see it with my mind.
I've done it a lot. Yeah, that's how I scroll whenever I don't give a shit. And I'm still on Twitter just to see like the one or two things that I actually care about seeing, and then everything else I'm just like, okay, like this speedrunning
my
bullshit, the 55 GDQ tweets that they posted today, like like you know what I mean. Fucking Claws bitching about something again. JK, he's muted.
Ouch.
Alert! The twink has been muted.
It's over.
Were you trying to do
has
that
been
in like
silent.
the...
It's been
I was
silenced.
going to say, are you doing that in like the Counter-Strike voice of like the bomb has been planted?
Bomb twink has been muted.
That's fucking crazy.
Counter twinks win.
Sometimes you just have to mute people. You know what I mean? And I mute like half of the people I follow. So
That's fair.
it's not a slight at anyone. Everyone gets the hands. You annoy me with 2 tweets, it's over. I hate to break it to you.
I do tweet a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, Cole's
It's so
muted
Joe.
forever. Actually,
It's so
Yeah,
Joe.
same.
forever until I say so.
yeah.
On a similar note to what we were just talking about though with Dave Grohl, this is like
With Apple?
I was just reminded. No, not about with Apple, but I was reminded of this because
the Apple
Rock
Watch is black now. Oh my God.
outfits. Did you all see what's going on with like Linkin Park right now? I know Nestani's gonna laugh at me for bringing this up. But,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No, you're not. You
So
haven't heard about this?
basically-
Okay, yeah.
Linkin Park's dead, bro. Like I don't know. Like,
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Go for it, Cosmic. You know
Linkin
what's up.
Park is dead.
Well, it is, but it
Because
also
Chester Bennington is not there, that band will never. If it'll be like fuck the 3 Days Grace situation where they switch lead singer and no one listens to them ever again.
cares.
Okay, because that's exactly what happened. 3 Days Grace, they switched their singer out, and
Well, yeah. I don't think we're arguing with you on that front,
Like,
but
yeah, that's why
it's
I say
more
that.
insane.
I don't care that they're coming back because it doesn't matter. But anyway, go ahead.
The plot thickens.
Is
as
it
they
Mike
say.
Shinoda like some like dickhead or something?
It-
I don't know.
It gets worse than that.
Okay, cool.
Well, so to kind of start things off with Mike Shinoda, there are a couple of
Shinobi,
things.
not to be confused with Shinobi
Shinobi.
2, the game Cosmic commentator.
That's actually Shinobi PS2.
Sorry, Shinobi PS2.
It's a
not to be
reboot
confused
of
with Shinobi
Shinobi.
Pissin 2 on the Pissin console, the second one of
the
the
Piss
Pissin
Station
generation.
2.
Yes, sir.
So
Cheers, bro.
Called the Gold.
So Mike Shinoda was one of the few celebrities that didn't seem to be suckered into NFTs or AI. He just sort of liked it. And to him, it's like in the same like camp as sampling. And he wants so that like if people use like AI or something in a song or in a video, he wants the original creators to always be paid. And he wants laws to regulate AI. Because to him, it's the same as like, sampling something where you take something from somebody else and then use it in your thing. And I'm not
That makes
100%
sense.
on board. Yeah, I'm not 100% on board with him because, like, maybe, dude, just don't touch that stuff until it's been a little more regulated. And, like, in the Lost video for that Lost song that they released, there was an artist that he hired, or I guess a bunch of artists maybe, to do animated sequences for the video. And then they trained an AI on Linkin Park's faces using those drawings. So they paid somebody and then sampled that style in like old footage of the band. There's also a bunch of AI stuff like on their, like very clearly AI stuff in terms of art on their music videos recently, where it is sort of like doing a constant zoom in and revealing new drawings. And the drawings shift in a way that is very clearly, to me, AI. And I don't doubt that he's paying artists. That seems to be his thing, is that he's paying the artist and then training an AI. But he doesn't seem like he's an actual, like, normal shill for this stuff. He's a little bit too concerned about, like, moving forward with tech. But, like, the regulation is not there to kind of support what he wants to do. And he also doesn't like it when people make money off of, like, YouTube ads where, like, you know, somebody does an AI cover of something. He doesn't really like that either. He was also, again, you know, like a shill for NFTs and stuff, but he seems to have kind of dropped that, probably because NFTs are like worth only
Don't
10%
make
of
money
their
anymore,
original
so he
value
doesn't
now.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes. Whenever something stops making money, people magically stop caring.
You know, it's just like,
Who would have thought? So honestly,
Right.
if a Linkin Park comeback was ever like announced, I thought deep down in my cynic of cynics that he was secretly like training an AI to sing like Chester. Fortunately, this was not the case, because I probably would have never like looked at that band or its albums.
that would have been definitely
probably
worse.
the worst move ever.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
Planet Earth, actually.
Yeah. So, but what they ended up doing this week was they ended up unveiling
We
a
all
new
saw
lead
what happened with
singer
Drake,
and
man.
True. If you can somehow top worse moves than Drake, you're fucking up big time. So, like, they unveil a new singer and a new drummer. Now, people seem to have kind of glossed over the original drummer of Linkin Park leaving, probably because
No one gives a
drummer
fuck
is-
about anyone besides the front
Exactly.
man and bands.
Besides
It's
the front
always
man,
been
yeah,
this
so-
way. It will always be this way, which is why I said the thing where, like, it doesn't matter what they do, no one's going to listen to them because Chester's not here anymore.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they unveiled
like
a,
it or not,
a new
like
lead
the
singer.
like band. I mean, this is sorry, quick tangent, but
No,
like
you're
it
good,
or
you're
not,
good.
like band's whole identity is pretty much in whoever the vocalist is. If it's a vocal
Yeah.
band, right? Obviously, we're not talking about
Yeah.
like Animals as leaders or something. It's different.
or Polyphia.
Yeah, something like
thing.
that. But like for the most part, if you have a singer, that is what the band is,
Yeah.
and if you swap that out, the band is just not the same, because the voice is what like 85 to 90% of people latch on to when they like think
Yeah.
about a band.
That is
because-
the relatable part of the song.
because most people
Yes.
don't think like, oh, what a cool bass line. Like, I really like this bassist. Like, most people don't do that. Like, I like Luke Holland, so
Yeah.
like I'll follow a couple of like different Luke Holland projects that he plays on or whatever, and I'll check out different albums. But like, that's just Luke Holland. I don't do that for anyone else.
Yeah.
So-
It's sort of like how Carlos Santana had that really huge hit with that one, like, singer that I guess she was like a Spanish lead singer or something, and like stuff like that pops off, or the song that he did with Rob Thomas really popped off.
Rob
And Santana
Palenka.
is known as like this really, really good guitarist, but it's those songs that he does with guest vocalists that are among his most celebrated because of, you know, the identity that those singers bring to the songs.
Oh, like
So-
like Marshmello, too.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
A lot of the EDM artists, like, they'll like have
Or like
a,
when Skrillex did that album that was largely featuring like vocals from Ellie Goulding.
are a cinema. I could watch you forever.
Rest in peace, Christina Grimmie. So, like, they unveil a new lead singer who is Emily Armstrong from Dead Sarah. And Dead Sarah is a band that I've liked for a little while. I want to say at least like a year or something. So I was actually pretty hyped for this choice. She definitely brings that sort of like raw vibe to the songs that I think somebody that was...
Sorry.
That one.
Whoa.
Yeah. She brings the Gordon Ramsay vibes on the vocals to Linkin Park, that somebody who is going to be attempting to, I guess in some regards, replace Chester and also move forward.
Here's my thing. Just make a new band.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah, basically.
The counter argument is like, if they keep the brand, it makes it easier for them to promote their
brands
shit.
are so important.
Care because
I don't care either.
I don't care either. I think it's might be a hot take, but I think it's disrespectful to bring in another person and continue the band in a way. But the counter argument to that is, well, it's a band, and a band is more than just the lead singer, which I would agree with as well. However, I just think that, like, especially like if it was like, we know who the driving force was in the song creation, right? It's
Chester and Mike.
It's Chester and Mike, which they do still have half of that. I get it, but also it's just like, I still just think it's really just like,
I'll get into the really.
People know who fucking Mike Shinoda
disrespectful
is. You know what I mean?
shit.
Like, people know who Mike Shinoda is. Like, his solo stuff does fairly well. Like, it's not like the greatest because it's like a completely different genre than what Linkin Park is, and so like people don't really like super flock to it. But if like, the only thing that I think is fair, if he like tweets on the Linkin Park account like, "Hey, Linkin Park, we're starting a new band. It's this, blah, blah, blah. If you like the Linkin Park vibes,
like,
we have a lot of Linkin Park, like, people are like, we have Mike Shinoda in it, like, blah, 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 but we're not going to use Linkin Park anymore." I think that is like the best course of action. However, like, I get it because, you have the SEO, capitalize on it, whatever. But in my opinion, you're just doing that solely because you want the SEO and the money, and not because you really care about the band, in my opinion. That's just me.
The band is definitely like a business at this point. Yeah. Right. So,
because they're just so big that it's just like, I don't know, man. Like,
it is an engine at this point.
Yeah.
So
I think you can get away with that more
down.
so like down on like in the lower tiers of things, but it's just like, when everyone like, when people think of Linkin Park, they think of Chester Bennington. They don't think of anything else, right? It's like, it's very like they're basically like, I would view Linkin Park like I would view like a pop singer like Demi Lovato. Like, you listen to Demi Lovato, there's a lot of people that make the music behind Demi's shit, right? It's not just her, obviously, right? Yeah. But it's Demi Lovato's music, right? And same way, Linkin Park is like, it's a band, but it's like if the name was Chester Bennington, it would be the same thing. Right, like,
well, if it was Chester Bennington and Mike Shinoda, because Mike does have plenty of vocal parts on those songs. It's particularly
and he does a lot of the writing too,
Meteora.
And so I don't want to like discredit him, but I don't know.
No, I totally get what you're saying, because like there's stuff like Hybrid Theory and Meteora, and then there's songs like Waiting for the End and One Last Light. That are pretty much all Chester. And everybody blows up those songs, and like Numb, for example, too. That song like is made by Chester. Like his voice makes that song.
Yeah.
So the thing with Emily Armstrong was like, and they released a new song with her. They have a new album coming out in November, and the new song from the new record, it sounds pretty good. Like, I actually thought it sounded pretty decent. And I like Dead Sarah. I think that Emily has a great voice. I think she's definitely talented. What there's some dead people that were cool when they were alive.
Was it on a beat?
Was it on a beat?
Oh my god, dude!
Hit a free throw.
Wait, are you done with that thought? Because I wanted to.
Well, I wasn't.
Are you done yet?
I wasn't done. It interrupts my thought. Are you done? What?
Sorry.
Hey, this thing you were talking about is really cool. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. This is like walking up to somebody, taking half their sandwich, biting it, and going, "Oh, you're done with this sandwich, right?" Like, no, I'm not done, motherfucker.
Right, fine.
We haven't even gotten to the most complicated part of the story.
Just like Dave Grohl should have wrapped it up. You know what I mean?
He should have. Yeah.
Should have ziplocked it.
Just go. Then go. Finish your thought. Or continue your thought.
You think everyone's already used a Ziploc bag to wrap it up? Anyway,
so
continue.
when I originally did research on Dead Sarah to kind of figure out where their roots were from, I somehow missed that Emily Armstrong is a Scientologist, or at least was born into Scientology. She did not join Scientology like in her adult life or anything. And she also like attended one of Danny Masterson's trials because he was her friend and he was convicted during that, and she dropped support for him after just one hearing. Funny enough, though, you know, like, and I fault myself for kind of missing this in the research because I just mostly looked around Wikipedia, did some quick browsing because a lot of stuff that is pretty damning shows up there. So I couldn't really find anything on any of them, but like, so I was like, whatever. But she's apparently she's a Scientologist, at least, you know, in name, and was born into it. But there's no evidence of her supporting Scientology publicly outside of this trial and outside of her being at a gala in 2013 with Cedric Bixler-Zavala of the Mars Volta, who is, as far as I know, no longer a Scientologist. Now,
is this going somewhere? I'm sorry, dude.
It is. No, it is. It is.
My focus
it's
is
tying back
wavering.
to your...
I'm just gonna be so for real.
It's tying back to... So I was actually about to tie back to one of your points.
Cool.
Bitch, because
can we skip some of the filler?
This is like the
I was
most
literally done
interesting
the
part of
filler.
the story.
I was literally
sorry.
done the filler.
Nestani
cool.
are terrible people.
I think this is really interesting, actually. But okay.
I think it's interesting too.
I think it's
Yo,
interesting
on
if it's
three,
played
fuck
faster.
Nestani. 1, 2, 3, fuck Nestani. Anyway.
I think it's interesting if it was played at 2x speed. You know what I mean? But go ahead. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see
That's so insulting.
Is it insulting? I don't know.
The problem with this is that number
Is it
one,
insulting or is my brain
Scientology,
just rotten? I don't have an attention span.
Scientology,
Yeah,
is,
Someone
Yeah.
walking up to you and saying, "Man, I wish I could just put you at 2 times speed." Like that is so.
That's just fucked up.
That
Wow.
is so fucked.
My bad.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
mean, I didn't mean it to be fucked up.
it's fine.
know,
You've
I
watched
know.
too much TikTok lately. I don't take it personally.
Literally
So-
not.
So
All I watch are podcasts, but go off.
it's fine.
I've watched
We're
too much
just-
Simpsons.
so for-
stream.
Scientologist.
For the sake of the argument.
Stop it.
Yeah, exactly. So this
Now
is what I'm
back to the
talking about.
back to the Scientology. Never thought I'd say that, but please,
Yeah.
we're Scientology.
Scientology is a cult. It is terrible. It was started by a science fiction writer named L.
Jeff
Ron Hubbard,
Bezos.
who was an awful person. And he like wrote a book called Excalibur, and he claims that it was so life-changing of people's worldview that anybody he ever let proofread it, to like who read it to proofread it, killed themselves. So he locked it away, and he claims that not even he's like, you know, read it in full, and he believes like Scientology is all about these aliens that like live inside us or some shit. I don't fucking
Inside
know,
the
but
book, it's just a
it is-
link to low tier God saying you should kill yourself.
True. And it is just like
strikes when
you have to pay so much money to get into this cult, or what people call a religion, and you level up within the cult.
Yeah, you-
by
Oh
Oh my
paying
god,
them more money.
they gamified
They
religion.
gamified
Holy
religion.
literally
You know?
battle pass.
No, the first religion with a battle pass
Literally battle
is
pass.
Scientology. Now, the real fucked up part of this is that Scientologists believe that mental illness is something that can be audited by the Thetans with like a Thetan machine or something like that. So if Emily Armstrong still is a
What does
Scientologist,
audited mean?
and basically it can be like, you know, extracted out of you, that it is like something like made up essentially,
I don't
and that
understand.
it's something
I
that
give
the
up.
aliens that the aliens can purge you of.
I'm not even
So-
gonna pretend to understand. Just keep going. My
To
brain's
put
too
it in
small.
to put it in simply
You're just not
terms,
rich enough to understand.
To put it in simply
People
terms,
listen to me. I'm broke.
they think that mental illness is made up.
Oh,
So
okay, cool. Yeah, I got that.
if Emily Armstrong still ascribes to this cult, and she's singing the lyrics of Chester Bennington, who was by the end of his life deeply depressed and struggling with this stuff for a very long time, it is inherently disrespectful to have her singing those lyrics. Now, if she isn't part of the cult anymore, then I think it's pretty whatever. But I think Cedric Bixler's Vala on Instagram. I'll get to you in a moment, Coley.
I have the quickest question,
but I don't care.
I thought like is she? I thought she was just doing like one song. Is she the new front woman?
She's the new front woman.
Oh, so they're switching from a male frontman to a woman.
Yes.
And these songs are stuff that the other guy's written, the guy who died.
Well, not the new ones. But they are doing. They're performing. They're performing like Faint and Numb and Paper Cut and like all of their hits.
Yeah.
And they did like a reveal show with her to unveil the album and unveil like the Small World tour that they're doing and all that sort of stuff. So it's like I lost my train of thought, but it's fine. Like,
so
you get the idea.
Disrespectful if she's a Scientologist and he's singing the music. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like apparently Cedric Bixler Zavala has made another Instagram post regarding this stuff that I think kind of alludes to her still believing in it. So I mean, honestly, I just hope that she comes out and just disavows it, because Emily is a very talented, singer, and it's like I would hate to have that sort of thing just sour like what should be a new chapter for this band with somebody very talented, and if Mike and Linkin Park and the Linkin Park business knew about this sort of stuff going in, because they did ask her like a year ago, so probably prior to that they were doing some digging and background checks and all that, because that's what you do when you bring on somebody like a new employee essentially.
I don't agree in the context of a band. You're just looking for someone that's good. Yeah, but they don't.
But that's what you should do.
But so, if you're a band, you're like, who fits our vision most, and you
exactly.
And you just scroll people until you're like, oh, I like her voice, and then you contact her and blah blah blah.
But
and you normally find out that shit later. But that's my only.
If they looked into it and they just went, it's fine, then that's also pretty disrespectful. So there is still a little bit of conjecture here going on. I don't want to make it sound like this is stuff that's set in stone, but as of right now, like as of the recording of this podcast, which is
September 10th, the day before
September 10th, yeah. And they say that Mondays are bad. So it's like,
I hate Mondays.
If that is the case, then it sucks, and it's going to sour a lot of people on this new chapter.
Not to be confused with Sour, the Olivia Rodrigo album. I held that one back last time. But I couldn't hold it back twice. I have listened to that one.
That is a good album. No, you're good. I like Olivia Rodrigo, so it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I like that one album. Gut sucks. Anyway, we're not talking about Olivia Rodrigo.
Okay. All right.
What do you mean it's a take? That's a very... Anyway, sorry.
Fair enough.
We're not going to talk about that album. I have so much to say about that album. Could it just... Someone talk about whatever the fuck we're talking about.
Let me just say something real quick.
We're parking on Lincoln.
I haven't really talked in this entire topic. The first thing is I want to talk... I'm sick of people...
I'm sick of people.
Well...
True. I'm also sick of people.
Yeah. No.
I'm also sick of people. I am kind of
sick
He's specifically sick of me.
I'm sick of people talking about AI in a particular way.
Sorry.
I mean, listen, if you don't like what I'm going to say, that's fine. I don't even use it ever, really. I've only done like the Cran AI thing where it looks super derpy and silly and it's just with friends. But here's the thing is that when you're looking at something like AI, you either think of like you got to separate it from being the paintbrush and the painter, like AI can be a very useful thing if it's not like creating the entire art piece sometimes. So like, for instance, I've seen like, coloring backgrounds can be very annoying for artists because it could be the same background, but you have to color each panel yourself. Like that's just annoying. You could have AI look at one panel and be like, oh, okay. And I'll match it along with the other frames and stuff. I think that's a great use of AI. There's a lot of stuff like that too. Like in Photoshop, there's like you can like highlight a space and, if you shift your image a little bit, you can make it look like the sky or something like that.
Basically, AI should be a tool, not the whole thing. It should be a tool that aids you and not hey, make this whole thing for me and then I'm going to raw dog sell it, right? It's like, help me with this like one thing. For example, me and Cole, put in different queries to Chat GPT last week for the podcast title, and then we didn't use any of them because they all kind of sucked ass.
Because they sucked.
They all
and
suck.
then we just landed.
so goofy.
We just landed on the original one, which is what I thought of.
The thing of it too is like AI is kind of a misnomer as well, right? Because it's not artificial intelligence. What it is a learning model.
It's machine
which is
learning.
like,
That's true.
it's machine learning,
right?
Name,
Yeah.
So people get
Yeah.
excited about it, and so the people that
exactly,
have infinite
right?
growth can keep growing because people keep investing in them.
The artists for
Yeah.
like Across the Spider-Verse, they actually used like a learning machine for the filler frames in animations. So they had key frames of their art that they would train this AI on to make the animating process less tedious and less like, just requiring less work. And I'm sure that saved them actually like a lot of late nights or
And a lot
maybe
of
like
money.
weekend shifts and stuff and a lot of money. So it's like, if
That's the big
it
part.
made their job better essentially because they trained it on themselves. They didn't train it on anybody else.
Right. And the other thing too is that I kind of don't like people talking about AI because I actually think it's a really good thing, even though sometimes people can get down in the dumps and a little too negative about it, but it's generally a good thing to like be on your toes about things like this. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
I'm glad that people are paying attention and striking about it and being like, yo, what the hell? Because you want to protect creators making their own work.
Voice
and
actors
stuff like that.
is a good example.
Right. And I mean, I love voice actors and I never want to see them go away and be replaced. Anyway, I've actually thought about this a lot and I'm like, I wonder if AI will become moderately successful. And then like, if you want like a real person to do something, it'll be like an extra, like paying more kind of, anyway, that's beside the point of what I want to talk about. But I'm glad, here's the thing is that people can love it and people can hate it, but I'm glad that there are people who mess around with AI in extreme ways because I would rather them mess around and show it and see that it fails. And then you could just keep moving forward, trying to like figure out where AI should fit in the entertainment and arts industry a little bit. So like in this case, if I remember correctly, where it's like they hired an artist to do some work and then like they kind of filled out the rest with AI. It's like you can hate it or you can love it. That's the great thing about it is that it's kind of starting this discourse of it. And I think that's just really important.
Yeah, you have to have somebody that steps over the line in order to find out where the line really is.
Yeah, sometimes,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something else I
Because
wanted to...
go
47
on.
jokes
No,
popped in my
go
head.
on.
I'm so sorry.
Well, no, it's like kind of... I would be taking us back towards the Linkin Park thing for just one quick aside, but like...
No, go ahead. Because I'm going to go back there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just one thing I wanted to mention about the Scientology bit is that, like, even though, like, the lead singer might not have denounced Scientology outright, the reason might not be because, like, she believes in it. One of the things about Scientology is, like, they hound down people who
This is true.
and, like, dissent or, like, speak out against it. So she may be not saying anything about it publicly to protect herself.
That is true.
Before you
That
That being said, that is
crazy.
That
It is
could
a
be
deeply
thing.
fucked up cult, yeah.
It is very scary, and especially if you're born into it. Now, that being said, again, there's evidence that might prove otherwise. We don't know, but I just thought I would bring that up just to be fair to this human being and to people, as far as this goes.
No,
but
fuck
back
that.
to what you
I
were
hate
saying.
being fair.
Okay, damn, what a hater.
Nestani is buying. Nestani's buying an Xbox Series X to go and get Sonic Unleashed World Record now. He said, "Fuck fairness."
People have been saying this.
True.
Where were you going,
the
Cole?
thing-
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the other thing I wanted to say about Linkin Park and stuff like that. Is damn, that's a big statement.
See you in 2 weeks.
So I don't like, what's crazy is I could not name a single Linkin Park song right now. I probably know some, but I can't name one off the top of my head.
I mean,
that's just because
fine.
I listen to old people music.
Yeah, we know. You haven't
so
listened
I don't
to
know
anything
but
past
I
1980. We know.
1980, like 6 probably, but anyway,
Probably.
yeah, get it right.
Same thing. 1980.
So I don't know the history of the band or anything like that, like you guys do. But when it comes to stuff like changing its members and things like that, I don't think the creators should give a fuck what the audience says at all. I think generally it is a good thing for creators to not listen to the audience when they're trying to create. Because generally I feel like that they produce work that they are not proud of, so then they just don't want to create anything at all, or they produce their worst work. And I see this in a lot of bands, like older bands that I've listened to as well. And, you know, criticism is a great thing. Like, obviously you need to listen to what people are saying about your music, because then how else are you gonna want people, like more people to listen to it. But I think generally at the end of the day, like, I don't think a creator or anybody who creates should monitor success based on how many people like it, but on if you like it and you value it. Like, you got your hands dirty. You're the one who pulled up the DAW and mixed the music. You're the one who plugged in the amp and pressed record, and you're proud of it. I think bottom line, that's all should matter. Like, there's a guy that I listen to called Alejandro Aranda. He used to go by Scary Pool Party. He was on American Idol, which is how I found out about him. He's really good. And I wish when, like, a few years ago, I was like, man, I wish he would do more acoustic guitar stuff, because that's what he was really good at. And he wasn't. So me, the audience, it was making me unhappy. But now that I go back to it, it is easily some of his best work. And it's not acoustic guitar. It's like, you know, electronic music, orchestral, big band, just these wild, crazy things. So because they got a new singer and a new drummer, you know, I get it. Like, fans, it's already a big band. It's already established. But at the same time, it's like, it's not your band. Like, it's their band. It's their creative work. And why dispel or instantly shit on these creators for trying something new?
Well, to be fair, like, Linkin Park has kind of always done their own thing, and people were actually pretty receptive to, like, the addition of Emily on the reveal, and, like, hearing her perform some of the music. It's when we get into this stuff that seems to have gone under the rug, and stuff that we talk about honoring somebody that's passed away, that whose work meant a lot to people. And I think it would be distinctly different if they were not playing any of that music. If they were just doing like the new material that they had written. I think this would be kind of a different conversation. But for example, for somebody else who had a singer pass away, Alice in Chains, they replaced Lane Staley with another very talented singer whose name escapes me at the moment. But they've released 3 albums, like, I think, with that guy. And everybody likes them. I mean, nobody's really going to like them as much as the albums with Lane Staley from the 90s. But, you know, like, I've listened to those albums and I don't really have anything bad to say about them. Like, they're just a talented group of dudes that keep on trucking and keep on making the same style of music that they like to make. So, and fans were pretty receptive to it. So it is really just a question of respect for the artist that has passed away, the artist who is part of the legacy for Linkin Park.
It's why, like, I'm kind of like in the middle about it, where I'm just like, would I rather them just have a just new band? Yes, but like, also it's their band, you know what I mean? Which is how I thought I presented it. Maybe I didn't present it, I don't fucking know. I word things horrendously all the time, but like, you can go either way with it, and that's kind of where I am with it. However, I won't be listening to it just because I'm just like, I don't really care. Because
what would you get out of it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, if they were like, hey, here's a whole brand new band, I would be like, sure, I might like listen to it, you know, because that's what I did with Mike Shinoda. Mike Shinoda said, hey guys, I'm having my solo project, come check it out. And I said, sure, Mike Shinoda, I'll go check that out. And I like the what's this album called?
Was it it's not the Fort Minor one, right?
No, it is Post Traumatic. It was like the one that he dropped like right after Chester died. Very, very good album. I mean, not very, very. It's a good album. I don't listen to it anymore. Fair. I haven't listened to it in like 5 years, so I can't say very, very. But it was a good album, and I went and I checked it out. But like, this to me is just like, I don't know. I view Linkin Park a bit differently, and I think it's case by case on how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Right. because I do think there's also just an extra layer of this guy committed suicide, right? That makes it a bit more sticky, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. If he
well, Lane Staley also did.
To put it plainly, if he died of cancer, I probably would care a lot less, right? Or like something, you know, either like it's both are tragic, right? He's still dead. I'm not saying that, but I do think there are levels in that. As
definitely,
you know, you can think I'm fucked up for saying that, but I think that's just how it is, right? And I think that's like a lot of the perception here, right? Is that like, that is the reason, whatever, that is the reason why some people will be flipping, like why are you having a band? But also apparently a lot of people don't give a fuck, right? Maybe there's just a me thing. So
I think it's sorry, I don't mean to
go for it.
I think it's tough too as someone who kind of, you know, worked in a creative industry, or at least studied in a creative industry for a bit. It's not always the fans that are the ones that are necessarily driving these types of pressures on the artist. A lot of times it's other stakeholders. So like a musician's case, it would be, you know, like their label, or like, you know, the music industry, right? You know, in my case, when I was in school, I was mostly beholden to my teachers, who wanted me to make something good, so it made the school look good. You know, my teammates, obviously, because, you know, we were trying to make something good, but also just like, you know, the school, and we were trying to make something that looked good for people who wanted to hire us as well, right? And it really kind of, well, like, emotionally it burned us all out, but also it just kind of made us make a shitty game, you know? Not that the game we made was shitty, but you know what I mean? It's like, so it's like, in some ways I can kind of like, in some ways I kind of feel bad for, like, you know, Mike potentially, where it's like, does he feel like he needs to do this in order to put bread on the table? And I don't know what his deal is, but like, you know,
I doubt he's.
I wonder what other external issues.
I feel like they have enough, you know, royalties on the music to be fine.
I mean, maybe,
but it like, also is a thing where like you look at his past couple albums and
they're not getting the hits.
No, the numbers are bad. Like the 2020
not to mention,
album,
you don't know how we don't know how much goes to
on Spotify.
We don't know how much goes to like Chester's estate either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
And the other band members too.
Yeah, and the other band members,
like, you know,
and then also
maybe,
to the label,
and like
and
I
then
get
maybe
it,
to their
but
agents, and then to their merch people,
producers, you know.
yeah.
Again,
and
but
I mean, like,
but also it's just like if you're worried about money and you're splitting the pie up that much, just making a new group. I don't know.
Make a new pie.
But like, I also get the other layer of like, you have the label backing, you have the prehistoric thing, so you get like,
you want to have a contract, you know?
Yeah, it's like I, which is why again I'm like kind of in the middle of it. Like I get it, but also it's like I get why they're doing it. I would rather them do the other thing, but I'm not gonna lambaste them for doing it. I'm just gonna be like, whatever. Like, it's your decision. It's not mine. And the best way to vote is not to shit on people. It is to completely fucking ignore them, right? Because that's actually like, if you want things, like if you don't like something and you don't want it to be a thing, especially in the entertainment industry, remove your eyeballs from it. If you don't look at it and you don't see it, that's your way of voting of, hey, I don't like this thing, please disappear. That's why I don't really talk about Kanye ever, and I don't listen to his music ever, because I'm like, I don't like his music, and I've done this long before he was a Nazi. I've hated him my whole life.
I'm so glad history
his
has
music
vindicated
sucks.
me on Kanye.
It's just like I don't bring it up all the time, right? I'm not like, oh, blah, 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 like, you know.
And I think it is also a question too, with like how long this band has been around. Like, they've been around longer than Cole's been alive. I've listened to them longer than Cole's been alive.
To be fair, there's a lot of things that are older than Cole.
And like, in terms of longevity with the same band members, they were this generation's Metallica, who were kind of just with each other through thick and thin. And like, just to Nestani's point, there's a distinct difference between, let's say, having like, you know, a deadly disease rip your life from you, and then also ending your own life. So it's like the legacy coupled with this tragedy has caused a lot of emotions and weight to come out of this whole thing.
It's a sticky situation, as some may say.
For example, when Dance Gavin Dance replaced Johnny Craig, who was a idiot. He had only been with that band for a few years. They have they go through band members like most, they go through vocalists like most people go through cars.
Yeah.
And they're still pretty successful given like the scene that they're in.
Yep.
But it's like they don't have nearly as much of a, like, nobody that's in that band has nearly as much of a legacy as anybody in Linkin Park.
I do think the numbers like fuck with it, right? Because Dance Gavin Dance, it doesn't matter. It's what I was saying before, where like if you're a lower tier band, it doesn't really matter if you replace your singer. Obviously, you might lose a little bit. Like 3 Days Grace, no one had a problem. Well, people had a problem, but like no one like actually really cared that they switched singers. They were like, oh, you switched singers, I don't like the new singer, bye. Like that was pretty much the whole.
Also just step down.
I don't know. I haven't looked at 3 Days Grace since like 2008, dog.
You haven't looked in their general direction?
No. Same reason why like I didn't even know about any of this Linkin Park stuff, because I have not looked at anything of Linkin Park since Chester died. Fair. It's just like, it's done. Bye. 3 Days Grace, they switch singers, they're done. Over. Bye. Dream State, for example, another metalcore band that I really love. Primrose Path. It's one of my favorite metalcore albums ever. The vocalist is so good, and they switched her out with another vocalist, and the other girl, like, she's fine, like, whatever, but she's not CJ. And CJ is the reason I liked Dream State so much. So it's just like, you know what I mean? And I think no one really like cared, because like a lot of the Dream State fans are just glad that the band's back again. However, me, I'm like, well, this band only really mattered to me because of the vocalist, and so now it's just like, see ya. But
yeah,
so it's different, because even though these people aren't like, Dance Gavin Dance is very popular, they're not like a low tier band by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. But if you compare them to Linkin Park, they're like a fucking penny in a ocean. You know what I mean?
I feel like the other thing too is something like Linkin Park is, it's just like
your grandma knows Linkin Park. Cole knows Linkin Park. You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, but they were a very emotionally formative group for a lot of people. You know, like Cosmic said, like a generation's Metallica, right? And with the nature of the kind of music that,
but go ahead.
I hate it too, but it's like I'm working with.
That's fair. Well, you get the point that I'm making.
I get the point. So I just hate it. Continue.
Let's not pretend you don't get the point.
I said I get the point, but I hate it. That's the sentence I just said to you. I get the point, but I hate it.
But like, but here's the thing. It's just like, because of the nature of the kind of music that Chester Bennington wrote, it's like it hits a lot. Like it's like a lot
of sensitive notes.
A lot of sensitive notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's also just, I think, like the biggest example I can think of off the top of my head is like, imagine like going to the Linkin Park concert with the new singer and she starts singing One More Light. Like, ooh, I don't know. It feels weird. That one feels
that
very
would be a
weird.
little weird.
Very, very weird. But like, I think overall it's fine. Like, whatever, you want to get your money, you get your bread. I don't really respect it. I won't really be watching it. But like, for the people who like the new stuff, Pog, great for you. I mean, I'll do the thing. Well, I'll listen to the album when it drops. Right, when they drop an album, I'll listen to it, just because I always like to give people a chance. I don't just like shut off the water immediately.
Yeah.
I did that for Mike Shinoda. I kind of like the one album, then like in a month I stopped listening to it, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I don't really like this that much. And so I'll do the same thing, just because I respect them as a band. But it is a weirder situation for sure. And I think like they're gonna. Honestly, I think what they're going to do is they're probably just going to play like the older hits for like a little bit. And then I think they're probably just going to move away from it for what I think, because this is a bit different. We're going to, I'm wearing their shirt actually. Architects' guitarist died of cancer. And they have an album where like he was like a very, very prominent writer of, which is All Our Guards Have Abandoned Us, which is my favorite album by them. And he talks about like himself having cancer. Like, Sam's the vocalist, so he's not the vocalist, he's the guitarist, but he helps write the lyrics and he helps like do all this other, he's a heavy writer in the band, right? And so that whole album, TLDR, is basically about him having cancer and like the concept of death and how he's feeling about it, like blah 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 blah, right? You get the picture. And so he dies, right? And then they've been, continuing to make music, continuing to do things. Holy Hell again, one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life. And on tour, they would play like some of these songs, specifically "Gone with the Wind," which is extremely like close to like it's in the title, "Gone with the Wind." You could get a picture of what he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it's very, very close to the home. And so nowadays, I went to see them live, and I knew this going into it because I watched a podcast where Sam explained this, but they don't play any songs from that album anymore because it hurts them too much to do so, because it reminds them too much about
what happened.
Yeah, about Tom, basically. And so that's what I kind of foresee happening, where like they'll probably play like the older songs for a bit, but I think in like 3 to 4 years, I don't know if they're going to be playing the old shit anymore, in my opinion. Like after they have like 2-3 albums out, I think they might just flip and just be like, guys, we might not do this anymore. And I could definitely see that happening, and I wouldn't be shocked, just because, yeah, Architects smaller scale size, but kind of equal trauma there, right? So
it'd be like if like Against Me got a new singer and then had that singer sing Transgender Dysphoria Blues.
Yeah.
When they were cisgender, like,
yeah,
it just wouldn't make sense.
It's stolen valor. Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't make sense at all.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't even like that. Like they thought, like for Architects, it wasn't like they thought they were like, you know,
it just hurts
on his toes.
Yeah.
They just like, it hurts them. Like they're just like, because they like play harder. They, you know, they're like, Sam's crying on the stage like almost every single fucking time they play Gone with the Wind. They're just like, dude, we just can't, like, because the way they explain it is like we're like reliving the trauma every time we play like songs off this album. So we're just like, we can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? And everyone respected that. And well, I don't know. I don't go online. I don't really read what people say, but I think by large, most of the fans that are real fans that actually give a shit about Architects are just like, that's cool, man. We get it.
Understandable. Yeah.
I'm a bit upset about it because it is my favorite album. And I was actually a fun fact, not a fun fact. I hated this. I was actually going to go see them live like back in like 2021 or 2022, or maybe no, this is 2019, something. It was like 2019, I think. And my car broke down on the way. Like I literally left. I didn't even get to the fucking interstate. My car tanked it.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, so I couldn't actually go to see them. And on that tour, they were playing songs from that album, and I'm even more mad about it now than back then, because like I finally got to see them like a couple months ago. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. Love that because they're one of my favorite bands ever. But it was also just like, damn, like I really like missed like my like the window of opportunity that I had, and I was like, oh. But I think it's just different on the scale and of the topics that he talks about, right? But I think overall it's probably just fine, and people are going to listen to it, and you know, people will like it if they like it, if it's good, and then if it's not good and people don't like it, then like whatever. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with them continuing on with another singer. I just would prefer a different name, but I get it, you know.
I would prefer she not believe in alien overlords, if that is the case.
Honestly, I'll be so for real. I don't give a shit about the Scientology shit. I'm gonna be. I do not care about that part.
If it were any other religion, I wouldn't care. But
you know they like abuse people, right? Nestani? You know how horrible.
I'll just ask after the podcast.
I don't, but also I also don't really care.
You really don't care about abuse. That's craziness, son.
Yeah, people have been saying this.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yo, comment section, cancel this.
That's exactly user. What I said. Actually, for sure. What were you
cancel this user.
Ouch.
You were about to say something, Cole.
I'll just say it after the podcast.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna take like really long to explain. I want questions about Linkin Park lore that I don't know.
Oh,
so,
yeah, we could talk about that. The TLDR for people that don't know Linkin Park is that they talk about a lot of mental health stuff, right? And obviously he was depressed and died, which is why Jax was saying that it's a bit different because of the content that they talked about of this. Yeah. And why a lot of people care about the Scientology shit. However, I hear that whole conversation, I'm like, wow, this sounds like a lot like Twitter. And I turn my brain off, and you know, maybe that's wrong of me, but like whenever I like, it just feels like one of those Twitter arguments that's going to go away in 2 weeks and no one's going to give a shit about.
We'll see in 2 weeks, I guess. We'll reconvene
We'll see.
2 Tuesdays from now, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna hold you to task on this one, buddy.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not task.
The thing
Linkin
is,
Park
too,
episode 2. Yeah.
is that they've been talking about mental health stuff since before the PS2 was out. So,
Pissin' too.
like,
That is such an insane way of like contextualizing the time.
right? It's been a very long time.
One of the pioneers
They
in
did-
space, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and
they
I
were
mean,
ta-
they were
talking
also
about mental
I
health
walk
in the
that
Neopets era. That's
Okay.
crazy.
I think
Well, I
mental
was gonna
health
say-
in terms of like the rock genre, sure.
yeah, in terms of the rock genre,
Not in general,
absolutely.
because you have a lot of like really cool like older blues stuff where they're they're talking about
Oh,
like
yeah.
slavery and shit. I'm walking that back, but I think like
Yeah,
in terms of like the metal
you
genre
could say modern
specifically,
space too. You could say modern space.
I would say sure, but yeah, but
well,
like
24 years ago though is not
I think
exactly modern.
I think for
but-
like the whole like metalcore space, they kind of just made the genre, not really, but like they really popularized the genre and like the direction that the genre went, where like a lot of metalcore is about mental health struggles and that stuff. And I will accredit them as being a leading factor, if not
Absolutely.
the leading factor of
Yeah.
that. Obviously, there's a lot of other people that pave the way. But we're not going to get into all the little guys. You don't need the metalcore history lesson. I'm not going to do that to you guys.
Because nobody asked.
Exactly. And that's going to be the end of this podcast, I suppose. So we're going to teach Cole about Linkin Park.
Linkin
We're going to
Park.
link him to a lot of parks.
We're gonna
and we're
link-
like, you should
link-
go
we're
to
gonna
this
link his
park. Yeah. And
what do you
then-
feel? How do you feel about Abraham Lincoln and his many line of parks that he
Yeah.
had created in his honor?
You're making it sound like he's like Walt
Yeah.
Disney with that kind of beat, and
I mean,
You're
I
making
don't
it sound
think
like he's
that
doing
anyone,
lines. Of
nobody
coke.
has ever seen Abraham Lincoln and Walt Disney in the same room.
No one's ever seen Abraham Lincoln,
So they
'Cause he's
could have very
dead.
well been.
no one's ever seen Walt Disney.
and no one's alive.
No one
that would
knows
have
the
known
location of his
Abraham
frozen
Lincoln.
head.
Speaking
Are you
of
saying that Walt
frozen
Disney has been
heads,
taken care of?
No, well, he died. However, but didn't they like preserve his head or something? Or am I like,
I actually
one?
didn't know that. What?
is this a
Well,
thing?
true.
Or
Yeah,
am I? Am I? Am I just?
preserved head?
yeah, which
Is this
head?
I need to know if we.
I
can
have to
live
know
in
if
a
this is
world-
real.
Yeah, I need to
Wait,
know if we
it's
can live
something
in a
I
world.
might have. I might have
It's
just made up a
Imagineering.
conspiracy theory.
Do you
I
know?
might
You know,
have.
like,
Just Imagineering.
It's real.
You know,
Goodbye,
Craig-
everyone. It's real.
you
We're
know,
not gonna
yeah.